Hello and welcome to the course. Before we meet face-to-face in week 5, I'd like to do a quick introduction and set the stage for our learning environment. I'm Dawn Newman. I'll be your professor this term. And a little about myself. I grew up in the Midwest. My extended family actually were from the farming community and also went into manufacturing and business. So I've been able to have the advantage of kind of seeing friends and family in different positions in different industries and learning from that. I guess a few words to describe myself other than being family oriented and friend oriented. I would say I've been a lifelong learner. I love to learn. It started early, it continues. I would say I'm a lifelong learner. I continue to be involved in professional organizations and to read and teach, and each time you teach you do learn. So those things, I do have a passion for excellence. I get really excited when people want to learn and grow and develop, and those are the type of people I worked with best. I also like a collaborative environment that allows us to be innovative, to experiment with things, and to accomplish great things. So results are important, and the way that we get to those results is we stretch ourselves and we challenge, we learn, and we grow. That's the environment I'd like to create this term, and my role is to help you, to also challenge you, to help us as a community, stretch and learn and look at all angles of a situation, kind of just appreciate the diversity of the way we look at things, the global aspect of the business world today, and apply the research, the evidence, learn from the concepts, apply what works and really build that spirit of experimentation throughout this 8 weeks together. So that's what my hope for you is. Specifically, if we look at our learning objectives for the course, you'll see that part of it is about you learning about yourself. Who are you as a leader? How can you identify and maybe relate to some of the concepts of leadership, some of the assessments of leadership, and learn and grow from them. I mean, we have over 100 years of leadership research that are part of one of our textbooks. And then in addition to that, we're going to bring in the practice of leadership. So throughout this learning community, I want you as an individual to really go all in and engage in this. Work with your learning groups, with your study groups, and be willing to share what works, maybe some challenges you're experiencing, be willing to ask for help. What help do you need as you're developing? And as you're building a better awareness of yourself, experiment with a few things that are going to help you change throughout this 8 weeks and target some specific goals for yourself on building your own leadership capabilities and your capacity to learn and grow as a leader. So I'm also a fan of having results, so return on investment. So you'll notice some of the questions I'm asking at the beginning of the course are just kind of, where's your baseline? Who are you as a leader? What are some of your strengths? What are some areas that challenge you that you really want to work on? What are some goals that you have for yourself? My role and the class's role is to help you get there. So at the end of the 8 weeks, I want you to feel like you've had that opportunity to explore, to experiment, and to grow and learn as a leader. Our resources that I want you to just get familiar with, of course the e-textbooks are out there, but I'm going to show you the cover because I have the hard copies. I love really getting into these books. The Peter Northouse book is amazing. I've been using it for about 10 years. Of course, when I started using it, it was edition 3 or 4. The 7th edition is power-packed. It's easy to read. This is what I hear from my students. Easy to read, very straightforward. It doesn't read like a textbook. It shows the pictures or the figures of the theory and the results in practice. It also gives some case studies. It gives strengths of each of the chapters, as well as what are some of the downsides of this particular theory or approach. so that you can then weigh those strengths, the pluses and the minuses, and then decide where might you apply something that you learned. Which ones of these chapters really speak to you and would apply in your environment. So Peter Northhouse text, awesome book. Not, of course, to be in competition with, but in collaboration with the Leading Continuous Change by Bill Passmore. So Professor Passmore is affiliated with the Center for Creative Leadership with Columbia University. I've known him through the Academy of Management, actually spoke with him about 6 months ago, and just love his book. I love the way that it reads easily. It has resources and a checklist and an assessment. So when Kathleen at University of Missouri, when she offered to, when I asked her, hey, what's the possibility of adding this text in the assessment? She was very willing to do that. I'm very excited to hear your reactions to it because, in my opinion, this book is probably the most current, fact-based, evidence-based, practice-based books on leading continuous change that I've seen. It's not scary in terms of a huge, thick, data-laden book. However, it has a lot of resources at the end that if you want to dive deeper into it, there are some other articles that you could research and read. So the assessment, the online assessment, also kind of gives you a baseline of where are you with regard to these elements of being a leader that's willing to change and experiment. So I took my assessment. I'm getting more familiar with the 24 items that are on the assessment, and I want us to really dive into that a little bit more and think about how is this helping us learn and grow, and how are you differentiating yourself as a leader based on the Northhouse book, the Passmore book, and your real world experiences. The third resource is the HBR, 10 must-reads on leadership. So those are sprinkled in throughout the course. I think the power-packed combination of those 3 resources are going to be really a great accelerator of your growth and of your learning this term. It is, a little comprehensive, and there are some weeks where the readings are going to be a little bit more intense. But as a learning community, as a group, we can work together, we'll get through it, and work with your study teams. So my role, as I see it this term, is to not only serve as a teacher, but also to take a bit of a coaching approach and help you to recognize in yourself, what are you learning about yourself, where are you wanting to grow, what specific goals are you targeting for yourself, and then throughout the discussions actually be able to also lend myself, from a consultant standpoint, if I've had some experience in applying a particular methodology or approach, I'm happy to share that with you as well. So I think the combination of those resources, of our learning community, I'm going to challenge you to think of yourself as a network, not necessarily competing with each other, but collaborating with each other so we can build a powerful, engaging, creative space where we can learn beyond what's in the books and be able to apply it real time during these 8 weeks. In addition to that, there'll be some YouTube sprinkled in, some short learning videos. I'll try to summarize some of the chapters in a short video or in something that I'll post. And we have reflection assignments. We have leadership experiences as practice, so these LEAP papers. And we've also looked at the course based on last year's feedback, and we refined it so there aren't quite as many papers. Do I get a hooray from you about that? And they're not all due towards the end of the term. So I'm hoping that really serves as a way to help you take a deep breath and say, oh, this is great. We'll be able to work together. I'll be able to get some peer feedback and target some specific areas that I want to grow as a leader. That is, I guess that summarizes a bit of the course, and my request to you is that you're just willing to look inward, to also learn about yourself and your emotions about leadership, your strengths, your successes, your experiences of leadership, that you'll be willing to share some of those in this learning network in the community, that you'll be able to challenge yourself to experiment with something new, something you've either heard from a peer, something your company is implementing, or something that you see in the books or the videos that you see. I can try that. Rapid experimentation is going to be an approach that I'll reiterate throughout the weeks, but let's try new things and let's work together. Okay, are you ready? More to come. I look forward to meeting you.